Hi everyone in the group. I just wanted to do a really quick live today. It has to be really quick. I've got to dash off in 10 minutes to pick my son up. But what I wanted to talk about was getting professional help with binge eating or emotional eating. I just realised I look like a ghost because of my lighting. My new office is completely off. Moved house about 2 months ago now. So first time I've done a live in this office and I've just realised how white this box is. Never mind. So getting professional support and why this is so important, actually. A lot of people think we live in very much a self-help kind of society, and a lot of people think, well, I can find everything I need to know on the internet and just follow that and everything will be fine and I'll be all better. And there is a lot of great self-help stuff there. There's loads of books. You can see I've got a bookshelf stuffed full of books that I use in coaching practice. And it's great. Self-help's very important. But the problem is it's not tailored to our specific needs, our specific health issues, our particular histories. There's no way that a book can pick apart your history and your background and your own life narrative in the same way that a professional sitting in front of you could. And the problem is when we're reading books, we read it's more from our perspective of our disordered eating. And an outsider might have a completely different view of your disordered eating. So an example of that is that some of my clients will come to me thinking they have a problem with binge eating, when what they actually have a problem with, from my outsider's perspective, is undereating, severely undereating. And I would actually personally classify it as anorexia sometimes. If we look at the diagnostic statistical manual, the previous editions all focus more on a BMI, which is really unhelpful. In other words, it's saying if you're not under a BMI of 18, then you're not classed as underweight, and if you're not underweight, you can't possibly have anorexia. But the trouble is, many psychological professionals like myself now are actually arguing against that, saying you can actually have the symptoms of anorexia at any weight. And it doesn't matter that you're not underweight, you can still have the symptoms of anorexia, even if you're at a higher BMI. And this is what a lot of my binge eating clients actually struggle with. They are restricting food to the point that they're not feeding their bodies, so they're feeling constantly hungry, they're always thinking about food, and it's always on their mind, they're anxious around it. They have the urge to binge eat because they've starved, so they're just really hungry, and they get to the point where their body the biological impulses take over and forces them to overeat. So we actually have to work on increasing food intake. It's a completely different approach to what you would do if someone was genuinely overeating, but many binge eaters tend to have that restriction element. So anyway, I'm getting off topic. I could talk about that all day. So getting professional support for it, whether you think you have anorexia, orthorexia, bulimia, anything like that at all, you might not even know what label to give yourself. You might just sense that you're really anxious around food and that needs to change. Whatever it is, the first port of call is always to go to your GP. Now, I say that for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it's a great place to go to because you can get referrals to someone like a dietitian or a counsellor, preferably someone trained with an intuitive eating perspective, someone that's not going to sit there and say, oh, you're binge eating, the first thing to do is to lose weight. No, it needs to be someone that is body positive, someone that does not have weight bias. So they will treat you whether you are anorexic with a BMI of 25 and above or anorexic with a BMI of 16, so long as they psychologically treat you the same and offer the same support and the same guidance as they would at either weight. That's the kind of professional you would want to be referred to. I will post some links later about the Health at Every Size register. It's a free register, and mental health professionals, people like psychologists, dietitians, nutritionists, CBT counsellors, social workers like myself, are all listed on here to show that we don't have weight bias in our work. Anyway, so the first thing I would do is go to the GP, not only because they can make the referrals, but also because they can medically assess to make sure that you're not in any immediate danger. So they could check that you're not nutritionally deficient in anything, because sometimes a nutritional deficiency can cause cravings. So that's an important thing to rule out. They can also check for hormonal imbalance. Sometimes that can be tied in with things like thyroid, so that can cause rapid weight gain, rapid weight loss. So that's a really important thing to have ruled out as well. Other things is they can give you the all clear, in a sense, to do a bit more self-help yourself. And I would hope, I mean, a lot of GPs need a lot more training than they get. They currently get 2 days of training in about 7 years focusing on eating disorders, and it's nowhere near enough. So I would think of your GP as more the person to give you the physical all clear, to rule out any medical complications, and also to give you that referral standpoint. Some things you can self-refer to. So for example, for CBT, you can self-refer for many national trusts around, certainly in the UK. That's my alarm to tell me I've got to pick my son up and shut up. But you can self-refer to many things. You can even have counselling online, so you don't have to see a therapist. You can also do e-learning things. So I know the Nottingham Trust that covers my area, I'm in Leicestershire, and our trust offers Silver Cloud, which is like an online CBT platform where people can focus on things like anxiety and depression and stuff like that. So I would actually say, after you've had the all clear from your GP, the things you want to be looking at is not necessarily food and what you're eating, but more the mental health aspects. So I would definitely say prioritise getting help for anxiety, prioritise anything to do with depression. If there's post-traumatic stress in your life, if there's been a traumatic event, a death of someone, or rape, trauma, abuse, anything, I see loads of things with different clients in their background, and all of that comes to the forefront through their eating. So mental health is the thing you need to be working on next. Focus on that before you try and do anything to do with changing the way you eat, or even exercise is great for mental health, but don't make it into diet, don't make it about weight loss. So please, if you are going to focus on fitness, make it more about improving your mental health. Go out for walks, go swimming, yoga, dance, whatever it is that makes you feel good. So I'll just recap before I dash off. So the first thing to do to get professional support is to go to your GP, rule out basic medical issues, things like thyroid disorder, nutritional deficiencies, and get the all clear to do bits of self-help. Also see if they can give you a referral. In your recovery team, you would ideally have your GP at the forefront and a mental health professional, someone like a counsellor, someone trained in CBT that can help you with any issues like anxiety, depression, or post-traumatic stress. And then I would put in place a dietitian, a registered one from the Health at Every Size perspective, someone trained in intuitive eating. That's when I would put that in place as a third person for your care, because they can then help you restructure your food. Often with binge eating, for example, you can't just dive straight into intuitive eating. Sometimes it's like that nutritional rehab or refeed or metabolic reset. I've heard it called all these different things, where you are on a structured eating plan, so your body starts to realise you're not restricting, you're not going to starve it anymore, and then you tend to have less cravings as you follow that structure. So anyway, that was my cap today for what to do to get professional support. I'll pop in the group later and post some links. And in the meantime, if you have any questions at all about binge eating, emotional eating, intuitive eating, anything at all, post the questions in the group and I'll do some more Facebook Lives over the week. Have a good day, everyone. See you later.